Not really. Most of the flour that we do, we process.
Okay.
That's, you know,
Y'all buy in quite a bit, or?
yeah. On the distillate side, we
Okay.
buy a lot. On the flour side, we grow it and do our own extraction.
Okay.
We do work with two other farms, Freedom Botanical and Ryan Cannabis Farms, which is now Method.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be growing. We have a 1,200 square foot grow, not too big, but should be producing decent amount. A trim and everything we'll have left over, so
Yeah.
probably be about April, first of summer before it's available. But definitely talk about that.
That's a great time to come into in the spring.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
gonna be
great
it's
time.
gonna be nice because it's gonna be all my genetics that I bred from my last crop, where I threw a Clydal Silver on my Maui Wowie and had her turn from a female to a female with pollen, and she pollinated everything: my blue cheese, my Bruce Banner, and my Northern Lights. And I got first time all feminized seeds. Not one of them been male out of about 20.
Wow.
But one was just like this big, like the buds are like embarrassing, and then the next one's like this big, buds are like that big already. And they're under
Strange.
LED lights I built.
Yeah, that Red Hot Cookies I was talking about, the low stress training on it, it didn't work. Like, I have so many methods of training,
Yeah.
and I could not get this plant to train.
Oh yeah.
No matter what I did. And it's growing these tall, huge,
Colas.
it is, well,
Yep.
they're donkey
Yep.
dicks. They
Oh,
are.
yeah.
There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
other term
Yeah.
for it. It's donkey dicks.
Hey.
But they're supposed to be It's donkey dicks. And
Hey.
everything is turning red. Right now we're in like 4th week of flower, and
Yeah.
everything is turning red.
That's so pretty.
So it's exciting, but I'm like, I really don't care for this method. I'm used to that big canopy.
Yes.
I'm used
yes.
to that, being able to train something the way I like to.
Yep.
And so it really threw me off. But Red Hot Cookies is one of the things that the growers there that work with me and under me wanted to grow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't my first choice, but
Cookies.
you get
is-
some of those strains, and sometimes it's really challenging. I really don't know what to do with the plant because it's just growing upright, and
Yeah.
no matter what I do to it.
Well, that was Amanda June. This is Between Two Bongs. I'm Ben Shones, and that was, again, Amanda June. We're the co-host of this show, and our first guest today is Greg Wilson from Mr. Mack's. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. So can you tell us a little bit about your business, what y'all sell, and where y'all are located for your dispensaries?
So we sell a little bit of everything. We're primarily known for our edible lines. We created and produce Mr. Mack's, Pop Pops, Dank Confections, bars. We do some other white labeling projects for a few other dispensaries as well. But we're primarily known for our edibles. We, won a couple awards with that. We're known for our topicals. And tinctures. We've won some awards with that as well. We're right now pushing out our concentrates, and our vape line is getting ready to drop real soon. We're distributed in maybe 400 stores across the state.
Nice.
And our factory location is 7220 Southwestern. That's in Oklahoma City.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I see your product pretty much everywhere I go, so.
That's kind of the idea. We wanted to be the Mars of the edible industry. When I go in a convenience store or a Walmart or a CVS or any type of retail establishment that's not apparel, right? I'm gonna see, the same candies in all of these stores. Snickers, Three Musketeers, Twigs,
Yep.
Reese's, Hershey. And a lot of these brands are the same parent company. They're owned by either Hershey or Mars. It's one or the other.
Oh yeah.
And so we wanted to be the same way and kind of create brands that would compete amongst each other without being a direct competitor. So like Pop Pops is only lollipops. Dank Confections is only cookies and brownies. Bars is only cereal treats. And then Mr. Mr. Mack's the flagship brand, we kind of spread that catalog across a few different categories.
Nice, I like that. I like that a lot.
And when you talk about competition and competing, when you talk about awards and things for your topicals and your edibles, what was one of the first awards that you ever won?
Well, the first that counts to me is
The one that stood out the most.
That stood out the most, or that counted the most?
Counted the most. Let's
'Cause-
see.
'cause
Let's say
those are
counted
two
the
different
most.
things for me.
Sure. Let's say counted the most.
So marijuana doctors did I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, a contest, a challenge, a study, whatever it was that they did on their end. But they listed this Blues Clues in the top 5 indicas for intraocular eye pressure. And that's like the leading cause of glaucoma. So for me, being someone that really, really focuses on the medicinal side of cannabis and the medicinal attributes, that one meant the most to me. The one that probably stands out the most to everyone would probably be the High Times Cannabis Cup.
Right.
Of course.
We won place with the Blues Clues tincture. So again, it's that same product, that same strain.
That medicinal
just
value.
That medicinal value.
That medicinal
Yes.
value.
In a tincture, and we took first place with that, and then we won a couple of third place, one for the caramel pop, and then another for our lotion, and then our dispensary won Best of Weed Maps 2020 for Oklahoma City.
Which I got
Nice.
some of that today. I got
Nice.
some of the lotion today.
Nice.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you'll have to let us know next time we get together on the show and let us know how
Yes.
it works out for you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Trying to make our waves, man.
Right?
You got
So
to.
let's talk about Blues Clues just a little bit and that strain and what it represents and why is it such a medicinal value product?
When outside of I'm known for the edibles, 'cause I'm a pastry chef.
Sure.
So I do that well. But my real cannabis experience comes from breeding and growing. And
Okay.
when I was doing my different, pheno hunts and, just acquiring the different genetics that I wanted to use in crossings, I focused on, what things meant something to me. Like, how can this affect me? I suffer from fibromyalgia. I also have NMT, or neuromyotonia.
Okay.
And those two things are like frick and frack. And to have them together is like a disaster. So I'm looking for something that can, help numb the pain, that can help curb the nerve. When you have nerve issues, like, you can be cold, you can be hot, you can feel like you're burning, you can feel like it's stone. Like, the nerves are weird.
Very, very, very tender. My dad had
It's
back.
a very
so-
intricate
My dad's
system.
had back surgery
Right.
and
So, like,
Ooh.
the parents for Blues Clues are Northern Lights, Blueberry, and Larry OG. So
Oh,
when
wow.
you think
I love
about
Larry
the
OG.
attributes of those particular strains, like, it's gonna help me with that pain. It's gonna allow me to relax without being sedated. But that Larry OG is gonna give me enough oomph to allow me to do what I need to do throughout the day.
Yes.
So it becomes almost like a all-purpose type of a strain.
Okay.
It leans more on the indica scale just simply because of its parents.
Yeah, the lineage, yep.
The lineage. But, it's a really, really balanced strain. I hear a lot of good things about it as far as, like, for mood stabilization. People utilize it for, a lot of different things.
Yeah, anti-anxiety, and also for pain and inflammation too. It
Yeah,
kind of
I mean,
covers.
that's what
it
it's
covers
really
that
designed for,
spectrum.
that pain and inflammation, because that's, the two main triggers for my conditions.
Yes,
Okay.
and it covers that spectrum. So it's exciting for sure.
Yeah.
Blues Clues.
Oh yeah, that's awesome that y'all bred it yourself, correct?
And then, you know, we have other strains as well. There's peachy Mack, apple Mack, tangier chili.
Which I just smelt that apple mac, and oh my
Oh,
damn
the
god.
apple mac.
Oh my gosh.
The apple mac is absolutely
Legit.
exquisite. It is beautiful.
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. I mean, G1000 is our strain.
Okay.
F and Loser is our strain. Weeby's World. Black Larry Bird. Double Tap.
Black Larry, I love that.
Double
Yeah,
tap.
So that's Black Danina and Gelato 33.
Oh, nice parents.
Yeah.
I love that Black Dominion.
I'm
Man.
I'm all about like pairing things that really, really complement each other, or you like, why would they do that? And then it
Yes.
makes you think about it, you're like, oh,
That's-
that makes sense now.
I'm excited to try this Northern Lights Maui Wowie cross I got to see if it hits 50-50 hybrid, because they're both almost 100% of each, or just what it's going to do. Because I mean,
Well, you just never know.
you never know, but I'm sure we'll find
That's
out.
the beauty
You
of it,
just
though.
never know. Absolutely.
Oh, it's so fun.
That's the beauty of it. That Pinot hunt, like that's the best part.
Well,
Yes,
every
it
time
is.
you take two really amazing strains that have medicinal properties, whether it's CBG, high in CBG or high in CBD, or it has some sort of property, and you breed it with another great or land race that offers those same properties, or maybe even something adverse,
Yeah.
you're going to come out with interesting results always.
Oh,
and
yes.
so from genetic research, for a few years now, I've found that breeding some of those odds and some of those oddballs and some of the tried and true, you
Yes.
can come up with some wonderful, wonderful strains. So
Oh, you
that's
can.
just an example.
Oh yeah, and the pheno hunt is just part of the fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, I have 4 God's gift right now, growing mothers.
I really like that.
My
Um,
favorite strain.
Yep.
I really love 3 of the phenos that I have. And
Oh, it's
then-
hard sometimes.
And so, you know, I really have a choice to make, and so, you know, that's kind of where I'm at on that. And there's several other strains I have in my nursery, but that one right now has my attention, trying to make
Yes.
decisions, and it's so hard to make decisions sometimes. So,
Oh, I hear you. I had 3 Jamaican lambs breds, land race, and I couldn't choose which one, so I let them all go for mothers for a while. And I had one that was more of a purple, and it was my Goldilocks strain. I
Sure.
smoke it in the morning, and yeah, it's supposed to be 100% sativa.
sure.
Gives me that good day, but at night I smoke enough of it, and it legitimately puts me to sleep. And some people are like, oh, that doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, that's how it reacts with me. Because
Right.
I know a lady who literally goes into dispensaries, says, give me a sativa. They're like, oh, you want to stay up? No, I want to go to sleep. Oh, that's not how it works. She goes home and she smokes that green crack and she goes to sleep.
Wow.
Everyone's cannabinoid system is so much different
Yeah.
that what I smoke and how I react is going to be completely different from y'all.
Absolutely. I
Like
can.
Jamaican lamb's bread, my wife, she barely takes a puff. She's completely paranoid.
Oh yeah.
I'm-
Yeah, it affects completely every individual is
Yes.
different. So, and I can smoke sativas, indicas all day long. I can smoke concentrates and flower and
Yes.
you know, a vape pen and different strains all day, and it doesn't affect me the same way as, you know, it affects like my co-partner or my grower, or you know, it's kind of different. I can see somebody smoke, you know, an indica right after me, and they're like, you know, really spent, and they're super, super stoned.
Oh yeah, and that's
And-
tolerance too.
Absolutely.
Because again, someone like my wife is 3 milligrams. She's gonna hate me talking about this, but she's doing a dance party over here, legitimately 4 hours. 4 hours. I take 3 milligrams. I'm like, eh. I take a bag of Smokies or 100 milligrams worth, and I'm like, okay, take another bag, and I'm starting to feel it real bad. My stomach is just jacked. So if I'm not medicated, I'm not feeling good. And
Right.
then, so that pretty much just goes to pure medicine.
Overlooked. And you know, I have kind of a funny story about that. We had a strain that came through at a previous grow that I was at, and it came in with really high values of CBGA, like in a 17 percentile of the entire strain. And
Wow.
so I wanted to market that on the product,
Yeah.
because I would buy that product
Yes.
if that product said to me that this medicine was here, and you could that medicine had this level. So I think that when you mentioned CBG,
Yes.
CBG and CBGA, they just get overlooked so much. But
Oh,
they're
yes.
very, very important. Very important. So.
Oh, the CBD is very important.
Mhm.
I really enjoy it. And if you don't like getting that THC high, that buzzy head, even with your sativa, sometimes people get it. I get it every so often, but I have a higher tolerance, so not all the time. Now, somebody else, CBD is perfect, or some people are trying THC for the first time. They can smoke a little bit of CBD with it or take some, and it actually calm them down a little bit.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It will counter.
So, Greg, what got you into cannabis business?
Well, I guess just that lifelong love for cannabis. I had an older cousin, shout out to JoJo, because he's probably one of the reasons why I do what I do and have that passion that I have. He was at, big cousin, big homie, you go over his house and he literally had the fridge. He opened the fridge and there's like all these different boxes, and we're talking about in the 90s, and it's just flour from different places and different time periods, and I'm just like, yo, who the fuck are you? But he really like taught me, how to break the plant down. So like when you're talking about, CBD and CBG and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like this is stuff that we were talking about way back when, and terps and things like that before, people were really, really into the indoor stuff.
He already had the knowledge.
Well, even back then when it was still taboo, you still had to have the knowledge to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But when you talk to the general public, it was, oh, you're a pot grower.
Yeah.
You're no. It's like, man, trust me, this is helping. There's a lot more to it.
The cool part was he wasn't even a grower though. He was a connoisseur, and I was just a stoner. Like I just wanted to smoke,
Yeah.
get baked. But so I used in school, in high school and college, I played baseball. I ended up having to stop playing baseball because I thought I had defects in my wrist. Well, at that time, they weren't really diagnosing people properly with fibromyalgia and stuff like
Yes.
that. We're talking about like 92, 93, 94. And, I ended up, stopped playing ball and just became a stoner because that seemed to be the only thing that really, like, helped me. And so he kind of guided me through without, I don't even think he knew, or maybe he did know. I seen him recently and gave him the biggest hug and thank you for, but that's what really got me into that passion of cannabis. The business part of it came around 2014. I left Oklahoma. I went to Washington, and that was like when LeBron James left Cleveland and went to Miami. He said that was like his college.
Yep.
That's what it was for me. It was my proving ground for me to like take my genetics and take my skill set of doing edibles and different things like that into an established market, and just kind of seeing what that was like.
Okay.
I tried to acquire a license. We eventually found it, had issues moving it. It was just like hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Long story short, shit never got off the ground. So
Yeah.
we built this brand, and it just, we didn't have any traction with it. 788 happens. I come back home, and then everything was already built and ready to go for somewhere else. And here was that opportunity, and we had the land and had the building, and licensing was cheap and easy, and so.
Oh yeah, I like the fact that you went out to Washington and actually took the chance and everything and immersed yourself to really learn. It's really taken advantage of nowadays, that people don't understand that you really need to immerse yourself in another state's cannabis culture to figure it out, because
Yep.
it's only a matter of time. Like Metric, we just got Metric here. I'm fully aware of that. I'm sure y'all are too.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna be bad. I mean,
It's
you're
nice
just gonna be
that-
a new learning curve.
Yeah,
and
sure. And it's nice that a lot of the platforms and everything are already set up metric. They have been preparing for this in so many ways. So all
Yes.
the seed to sell, all your point of sell, anyone who has like a monthly subscription to any of these seed to sell or point of sell, usually those applications, those platforms have an integrated
Integration, yes.
yeah,
yes.
already in place.
Yep.
I know we're using GrowFlow at this point, and we're already integrated, ready to go, and
Yeah.
you know, so when everything switches and everything is finalized, we're definitely ready. And so that's for 5 Point Collective, and that's who I grow for. But you know, there's so many different platforms, and that's what makes it nice. This metric, I think everybody's kind of been preparing for it.
Yes.
So
yes. There's a lot of good companies out there that already
Mm-hmm.
are pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Metric, I think more is going to deal with. In Oregon, we dealt with it with more auditing.
Sure.
Like so, if you have a candy bar in the back and then one is on your front, if you have them located in 2 different areas, you can't sell from one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Because we did that in Oregon. Tried to go to a dispensary, and I was like, I'll take that. I think it was Pineapple Express pre-roll. We go up there to ring it out, and they go, "Oh, sorry, I can't sell this to you." I was like, "What's the matter?" He goes, "Well, someone sold it as the wrong one last night, so the computer's not letting us sell this one because it says we don't have it in stock. So until they can go in the back end and fix it, they couldn't sell that joint, even though they physically had it."
Mm-hmm.
So that's the little things that just the little details that they'll go over with you, and as long as you stick to that, you'll be completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people who got into the cannabis industry should have done their research on other markets. Like,
Yes.
this is brand new here, right? So, do you allow it to be the Wild Wild West and then you just figure it out, fake it till you make it? Or do you actually take the time, go to some of these places, bring in consultants? Like for our dispensary, right? People always say, well, your dispensary, it's so nice, it's this, it's that, it's that, it's this. The people, they're so educated. Well, that's because we did our research.
Yes.
And we understand that we're on Weston. That's what they call the South Side Green Mile. On a 3-mile stretch, there's like 35 dispensaries, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely there is.
we figure, you know, attrition is normal in any industry, and this isn't gonna be one that it's exempt from. So majority of those are gonna just fall off. One, because of taxes is gonna take a lot of people out.
Yeah,
a lot
that
of people aren't
Well, that
prepared.
280E,
Yeah,
they don't understand it.
They don't understand it, so they're not prepared for that, and so that's gonna knock a lot of people out. But once we go adult use, people are gonna wanna go to the destinations. So we built it with that Krispy Kreme style kitchen where you can actually see into the processing facility, so you can see your medicine being made. You can watch the whole process. You can watch cheesecakes being made. You can watch cinnamon rolls being made. And then, you know, giving them a place where they can get the product at, you know, just above, you know, factory costs. I mean, it's just like Hostess.
Yes, I really enjoy the place. I've been there a few times. My wife actually got her first recommendation there when they were still doing that, and really liked the place. And like you said, you have to do that because when everybody else is just trying to put up a little place, I want to come in and felt invited. I want it to be clean, nice, not somewhere where on the way out in the park, I mean, it's just bad parking lot, bad place. Why put yourself in that situation? And when it comes down to it, when you bring somebody and it goes wreck, who are you going to go to? The guy who has the showroom, or are you going to go to the hole in the wall?
Yeah.
And I understand the situations, but it's still business. It's
Yeah.
still business.
No, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you have to look at patient safety. You have to look at, you know, privacy. A lot of those things that are in the law that people look at and just kind of sidestep or, you know, look at it as, oh, well, that's gray. Well, it's not really gray. You're interpreting it as gray, but your interpretation means nothing at
Yes.
the end of the day
Yes.
because the law is written and this is what it says. So, you know, you're right. People aren't going to be, you know, going to the hole in the walls and, you know, the little shady spots and stuff like that unless, you know, that's what they're attracting. And
Yes,
there's
yes.
a clientele for everybody.
I mean,
Yes, there is.
I have a lot of friends who are in little rural towns in Oklahoma who, when they come to town and they want to go shop, they want to go to Mr. Mack's. They
Yes.
want to go to Cookies. They
Yes.
want to go to these big names.
And that's those flagships, and they're staying far away from each other. And it's like, guys, let's look at that. I mean, I go into a dispensary and get printed off a label, and they're still handwriting them. And you're like, okay, guys, there's a printer for a printout where you have to have everything on there. Some people are like, well, we're thinking it's like you said, the gray area. No, it's black and white. I'm sorry, it's black and white. It's not gray. It's in the law.
Right.
Me and my wife had to shut down our grow last year, Aquaman's Garden, because after the Unity bill, they changed the laws on residential commercial, and we just didn't have the money to fight it. We let it go. Now I'm working at a grow and working at Herbal Phoenix in Midwest City.
Right.
So, but the laws are going to keep changing too, and as long as you stay on top of them and don't think they're gray. Do not think they're gray.
Well, and kind of going back to that statement that Greg made about doing your research and looking at these other legal states, doing your homework, you know, getting out, getting into the face of our bill writers, figuring out what this bill is about. Not to educate yourself in any of this, it's a disaster. So, I mean, there's time and time again, I am in a room full of people and, you know, having a conversation, and I hear some of the most bizarre things that I say, are you really serious that you know, we're not aware of this, or this is a question you really have and you're a business owner in the industry. So it's something that is daily for me, and I just I'll look over my shoulder and kind of, you know, give a little smirk, and so that really, it's the opportunity for me to educate someone or give them a bill section and say, here, read this.
Yes.
So to educate yourself and just like Greg said, going to legal states, doing that homework and that research, because a lot of this stuff is going to be founded on, a lot of the bill writing is going to be founded on things that they're finding in language of other bills.
Yes.
It is going to be compiled of language from other bills, from other legal states.
I've been in Missouri for a bit, helping my father-in-law start hemp up there.
Sure.
Their laws are completely different. What they did was they took 240 applicants for their grows and only certified 60. $10,000 they wanted for an application. So a bunch of these farmers are getting together because they only accepted certain places. They just started, I think it's four of them were open a month ago, dispensaries, and my wife has her card up there in Missouri. She lives up there now. And so no smell to it. You can tell they don't cure it very good. As fast as they can get out of the door. The effects are still there, but the smell, the look of it's not there. And like, I think we were paying $60 an eighth. So I mean, it's pricey, but I went up to Illinois and paid for a quarter a shake, $80, full rec. I'm about my pants on there, but I said, well, do what? And he goes, oh, but guess what? You're getting a 25% discount because you're out-of-state medical. And I said, oh, fuck me. And he is just like, what? And I said, dude, you're telling me I get $80 after a discount for shake of a quarter? And I was just dry. I had no other choice. And my wife's like, even she knows, what the fuck is that? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's all I had. That's all they
bad.
had. And it was just something else. At least the market here came comparable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really nice. It's not just ridiculous prices like everywhere else is. The newer markets, like I've noticed.
You know, I shopped the market when rec came into effect in California. I spent a little bit of time in Riverside, and then I spent a little time in San Bernardino, and I went out to Venice, and it was crazy. You're talking about the prices and the changes, the different things that come up. So I had timeshare and some different things in Breckenridge and in Evergreen, and had been in Colorado years before that. And so we went out to the rec movement in California. I was so surprised. There were eights for $120 and $125. And it was the same strains that I'd seen in San Bernardino, and I'd paid like $50 for a quarter. And it was like, because I was on the Venice Strip. I was in Venice Beach.
Oh, yeah.
It was, you know, triple the markup. And
yes.
So it was something to see out there and do that research and kind of see the difference. Just marketing in the rural areas, or maybe even the low income areas, It's just like here. You can go to North Oklahoma City or North Edmond, and you can pay those $60, $70, $80 eighth prices.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
can, and
Yep.
you're going to get that quality experience. You're going to get that high-end dispensary. You're going to get that high-end
Yep.
experience, and they are going to be knowledgeable. They are going to know their stuff. But you can go and find that same strain in Midwest City
Yes.
or Southside Oklahoma City,
Yes.
and pay $30 an eighth or $40
Yes.
an eighth, and
Yep.
it's probably the same grower. It's probably the same, and so the market's going to be like that pretty much everywhere. So if you go over to Larimer Street, downtown Denver, Blake, go to somewhere like Botanico or something, or go to Buddy's or something like that, you're going to get that top quality for just the best price you can imagine.
Yeah.
Viola and Oleo and all these, Nomad and all these different great products you can get at such a reasonable price, and you can go uptown onto 16th or Cherry Street or somewhere out there and pay 3 times the amount. And so like in Breckenridge, they don't have dispensaries out there anymore. It's a town rule. It's completely
Yeah.
no dispensaries.
Fort Collins, when I was up there in Fort Collins back in 2014, they had them in there, I believe, and then they took them out because it was a college town. They voted away.
Sure.
So.
But if you go to Frisco or some of the little towns around, you can find these little dispensaries, but you're going to pay those mountain prices.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to be in the mountains. You're
It's-
going to pay those mountain
it's
prices.
It's the scenery.
So the fluctuation is everywhere.
Yes.
But people, that's one of my biggest or hardest issues to get around with a lot of patients here, is they feel like, oh, well, it's medical, so it should be free. And it's just like, I wish we could really do that, but we can't. And people also have to look at, just like you're talking, you'll find the same strain at a different location for a different price.
Mhm.
You'll find the same products in Walmart and Target for a different price. You'll
Absolutely.
find the same products in, Albertsons or Homeland and Whole
Aldi.
Foods and Aldi.
That's right.
They'll
Oh, yeah.
all have different prices. What you're paying for is the experience. What you're paying for is the customer service. So you're paying
Yes.
additional for that. And people have to understand that that's people's demographics. So people were upset when cookies came. And I'm like, I'm happy cookies here. Please,
I'm excited.
Take my product. Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm so proud of
Yes.
Oklahoma.
Because
Yes.
cookies has its own
Yes.
demographic. None of these other dispensaries, are gonna see any lost sales because of cookies' existence, simply because that's not your demographic.
No.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Oh yeah, you're
These
going
are
there for an
people-
experience.
These are people who were still going to the black market to get their product because they're looking for something specific.
That's not
They're
your
searching for
every.
something
Yes.
specific. So
Well, and it's
now-
not your everyday dispensary. It's your Friday night
Yes,
dispensary.
yeah.
It's your
It's
Saturday
your
night
visit.
dispensary.
It's your visit.
It's your Saturday night.
Yep.
It's your, hey, what do you guys want to do tonight? Hey, let's go over to Cookies.
Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
get that experience. Let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
over and see our favorite bud tender, or
Yes.
So yeah,
Oh,
it's
that
an
makes such a big
ambiance.
difference. If that bud tender in your store knows what they're talking about, I'm coming back 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not a big fan of the store, I'm still coming back because it's still rare here. I still think it's rare in dispensaries. I mean, I know a lot of them have some good knowledge, but it's simply
far
grab a
and few
book.
in between, though.
Yes, yes it is.
And that's the problem. Like, I'm pro adult use, I really am, but we're not an adult use market.
No.
And we have to be able to, just like anything else. Like, if I go to get a suit made, they're gonna take my measurements, right?
Yes.
If I'm going to have something custom made or whatever, they're gonna sit down with me and we're gonna talk about the specifics of this. This is no different. When a doctor prescribes you medication, you're talking about those conditions, you're talking about what those side effects are of the medication or whatever it may be. So we flew in a bud tender a year from Washington to train our staff on everything for 2 weeks. Let the staff fly solo for 2 weeks and then brought them back for refinement.
Yes.
Because it's like, what I'm gonna learn, what you're gonna learn, and what you're gonna learn or retain is gonna be a little bit different.
Yep.
But when we fly on our own, we're able to identify those things. So when we come back, I can work with you on your issues, I can
Yep.
work with you on your issues. You can work with me on my issues.
Everyone can complement one
Everybody-
another.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And those type of things and those type of places really stand out.
Oh yeah, they thrive. You have a good team where everyone's communicating on the same page, not afraid to say an idea and get rejected, because not every idea, no matter what it is or who it's come from, is aces. You got to realize, and that's a lot of people. Oh, I'm all butt hurt now, and I want to quit or whatever. It's like, look, I get it. You want to come in here and change stuff, but let's all talk about it. It takes just talking. It's a process. It's that easy.
Well, and that's the last thing that, just through my experience personally, that's the last thing that you want to do in any establishment is to come in and want to change things immediately,
Yeah.
or try to change things that
Are going
not
good.
necessarily sure. I mean, you have, there's too many times that the things aren't going so well, and you want to improve those things, and you may have those solutions, you may have those keys, that are perfect fit, although the establishment can't see that. They can't get to that because they're in such
Could be under manpower or
well, and
underemployed.
it's such
I
a
mean,
rhetorical. Well, it's just such a rhetorical song and dance. They get into such a rut.
Yeah.
They really don't know how to back their way out of it.
Yes.
And so I've seen so much of this. I did a lot of consulting this last year, and I worked with quite a few companies. And so eventually it gets there, but you really have to put those fundamentals in on that communication on that level, and have that knowledge and that basis for the whole entire team, and have that an overall
Oh yes.
dynamic.
Oh yeah.
Because if you don't, and you go in as an individual, just one person, trying to change everything because you can see what's wrong,
Yes.
it never works.
Nope.
It never works. So it's very valuable to know those key fundamental things, that how to work as a team.
I got a
My
nugget.
my crew is wonderful because we just have that communication, and I love that. I love that about our crew.
I got a nugget for that. We call it playing your game within the game. And it's like, so many people want to come in and be game changers. But they're really not game changers. Like if we play football, a touchdown is 6 points.
That's correct.
The extra point is 1, or you can opt for a 2-point conversion. But the touchdown is 6 points. How you get that touchdown, well, that's completely up to you. So that's where you playing your game within the game comes into
Yes.
play. And by everybody playing their position, the quarterback is not your middle linebacker. Your
Correct.
strong safety
Correct.
is not kicker.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you
Well,
can't.
too
yes,
many times
Yes.
people think that they can take
Right.
on the entire operation, well, and the whole enchilada, and they can do every job. And there's just the simple fact is you can't. You cannot do every
There's
single
only
job.
24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
I've tried to stretch it. It just,
It
it ain't gonna happen.
It makes it hard for, and these are, a lot of these people are colleagues or friends or people we may have known prior to, legalization or anything like that. And then they look at their failures or, lack of trying, and then hate you for your successes. When we all had the same starting line, like literally, we all had the same starting line. It's not like, Connecticut where they offer 10 grow licenses, period.
Missouri,
And
60.
it costs you $75,000. Your application fee is $75,000.
God.
Is that, and once you get accepted, do you pay more, or is
Pay
that just?
more. Yeah, you pay another 100.
So
Another 100?
Mhm.
See, Missouri was 10, and then another 35,
They
or
want you
something
to
like
have
that.
$1 million liquid.
So
So they creating a monopoly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes.
we
Oh,
all have
up-
the same playing field.
Oh,
Somebody
whew.
literally saved their tax money and got in the game.
Yep.
I really have to say that I am disappointed in the fees that Oklahoma set for becoming an established medical marijuana facility on any level, processor, grower, dispensary. That's just where I stand. I personally think that the fees and who was able to obtain a license should have been more scrupulous.
Yes,
A little more.
Well, you got people who just took money who thought they could grow a few plants.
Sure.
And yes, I get it. You have great confidence, but then you took hundreds of thousands from family and friends or a bank and lost.
And that's
lost
a huge problem.
Like
that's
Medicine Man Technology told me, growing in a closet ain't a 3,000 square foot warehouse.
People
That's all there is to
dumping
it.
their entire life savings. I did so much consulting on people who have taken their entire life savings, something their 401k or something from a company that they, worked for 10, 15 years or something. And they took it all and they invested in something. And they gave the keys to someone who didn't have the knowledge. They gave the keys to someone who may have had the confidence, but didn't
Fake
have.
it till you make it.
Absolutely, that fake it till you make it. There you go.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but we got a few minutes left. We'll try to wrap up
absolutely. Yep. Okay, yeah, I'm good.
Well, I just want to say thanks to Greg here from Mr. Max for joining us. He's been a great guest, and
hopefully he'll be back.
Hopefully he'll be back to join us and bring in some other guests. And
I will be back.
Thank you very much, sir. And everybody stop by Mr. Max over off Western.
Yeah, 7220 Southwestern and South Side Oklahoma City. If you aren't looking for like fresh baked goods or anything like that, and you're just looking for any of our staple stock products, you can check us out on Leafly, Weed Maps, Leaf Buyer, Leaf Link.
And we're here at Lucky's Grow Supply here in Oklahoma City off the Broadway Extension, 235 and 63rd Street roughly. So thank you, John, for letting us use this.
Shout out to John Degg. Thanks.
We look to having him as a guest in the future, and you all stay safe and stay high.